Marvel franchises or spin-offs sell extremely well. X-Men had Deadpool spin-off series, and of course Star Wars had Rogue One which did gross $1 billion. But spin-offs never really do too well. Okay, they just never do. Spin-offs are basically movies that try to, and of course Minions, that are still part of the series, but usually have the spin-offs. They're part of the series, but they tell a different story, and they involve unique characters or unique storyline that is set apart from the original stories. The only two spin-offs to really gross $1 billion are Minions and of course Rogue One, a Star Wars story. But even those, Rogue One does fit into the Star Wars timeline, and Despicable and Minions still fits into the Despicable Me timeline, basically describing the history of the Minions. Series like but the thing is, though, unlike the MCU, these movies do not tie into anything else and are the spin-offs. But there is one franchise that, for the last 4 years, has been making billion-dollar after billion-dollar movie, and it's now finally showing signs of slowing down. Thank God. It's the Fast and Furious series. Okay, this is the Hobbs and Shaw Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, the movie has only like 2 weeks old. And the movie is actually one of the worst grossing Fast and the Furious movies worldwide. It has still made more money than Too Fast, Too Furious, The Fast and the Furious, and The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, which is argued to be the worst in the franchise. But it is a far cry from the billion-dollar grosses of Furious 7 and The Fate of the Furious. And now Fast and Furious is becoming an annualized franchise. Yes, now it is. Hobbs and Shaw is a spin-off and is actually the second worst grossing in domestically. But Fast and the Furious is more of an international movie series, because let's look at how well Fast and the Furious 7 grossed $1 billion world overseas. The movie has yet to come out in China as well. The movie will probably end up at around $500 million after the Chinese gross is done, which puts it at the fifth highest grossing Fast and the Furious movie, which means it's the worst performing Fast and the Furious movie since Fast 5. Because the franchise, with the exception of Tokyo Drift, has actually only increased in gross. With the exception of Fate of the Furious, Tokyo Drift, and Hobbs and Shaw. Fast and the Furious is quite possibly the most overrated I said that. But this series is finally starting to decline. I know this is a spin-off and it's not going to do as well as the mainline series. And who can blame it? It's a spin-off. And that's basically it. It's Fast and Furious 9. We really have to see if Fast and the Furious 9 underperforms. It is very unlikely Fast and the Furious 9 will underperform because, again, Hobbs and Shaw did have to fight against the Lion King remake because people are too worried about nostalgia. People en masse decided to see that no matter how bad it really was. And people actually think the Lion King remake is a good movie. It isn't the worst movie of the year, but Fast Furious Hobbs and Shaw is definitely not the worst movie of the year. But if you look at Hobbs and Shaw's Fast Furious 9's competition, you have SpongeBob movie, a Saw film, Scooby-Doo, which are all movies that never really broke $1 billion, film series that have broke records or anything. None of those series have really broke records. The only movies Fast and the Furious 9 really has to worry about is Wonder Woman 1984 and Black Widow. As Wonder Woman broke records for a female superhero movie, and it became the highest grossing until, of course, Captain Marvel had to gross more. Of course! But And of course, Black Widow, which is releasing at the beginning of the month, which basically means Black Widow will have 22 days of being number one at the box office until Fast and the Furious basically dethrones her and becomes number one. And of the only competition becoming, and of James Bond being the only other competition becoming a woke piece of garbage, and the only other competition being MCU movies, yes, basically Fast and the Furious will probably do well despite it. Despite Hobbs and Shaw not doing as well as expected. So, Fast and Furious is not dying until Fast and the Furious 9, unless Fast and the Furious 9 underperforms severely.